Hello, my wonderful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on your time zone or anytime you are coming across my platform, Linda's TV show. If it is your first time and you like what you are watching, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when we upload a new video. YouTube, I want to appreciate you for creating this wonderful platform for us to use to disseminate information. I always put a disclaimer that this platform, Linda's TV show, do not and will not promote violence, hate speech, misleading information, or what have you. We are here to educate, inform the members of the public about the happening, and also to remind YouTube that a call for self-determination is not a call for what? War.
By your traditional heritage and what is called value system. Now, the gods that holds Akumas as a people, I'm throwing this as a question because I'm using my community as a point of discussion to what we are discussing today. The gods that holds Akumas as an entity, we have it and we name it Ihu Nze or Nze as a deity. We have some that we call Ihuana. Ihuana is one of those deity that connect us to our farmland. Every community in Akumazi that owns Ihuana as a deity, the deity is actually positioned within the track that lead to our farmland. Why the Nze live within the community deity position or location? And these places that I just mentioned are sacred. You don't urinate there. There are things you don't do within that vicinity because they hold those deities so sacred. And these are things that actually define us. So I don't want to go too far on this tradition. But this point I've just given to you, you need to go and make verification on the foundational deity that hold your community. Get the name. It will help you, because if you get the name, if the name is not actually corrupted, if you get the original name of that deity, it will point you to where your community is coming from. It is point you to where to original identity of your community and your person. Some of the deities that are borrowed, you can find out when you, how do we know a community that is a deity that is borrowed? When you come to a community, every deity that is borrowed is a deity that is worshipped with a certain family, that is not actually connecting the communities at large. A native doctor, a traditionalist, can decide to go and adopt Mangu. In adopting that Mangu, he can adopt deity alongside with that Mangu. Like when you get to Ezago or you come to Anambra, there are people who hold Mangu to themselves. Those Mangu hold to themselves are not Mangu that you can refer to a masquerade owned by the community, but it is an individual who went somewhere to adopt that masquerade, having all the spiritual whatsoever affiliation to that masquerade to himself, not to the community. This is how we know deities that are adopted, borrowed deity. There are so many deities that are borrowed. There are so many deities. So as Oyo Benana, as Oyo Benana, as a one for Amona Bono, you will see differentiate. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to know that it's supposed to know that there are some deities that are foundational in your community, that are not foundational. So when you want to judge your belief system or your value system of who you are, you don't judge by those ones that was actually borrowed. You judge by those ones that are foundational. When my father was alive, because he is a native doctor, having connection to the Oba of Benin, because I always say this on the live broadcast, my immediate senior brother lived with Yoba for 19 good years. So I think I am somehow little familiar with the family system, because we do visit Yoba family, Yoba Palace at Tezami Road. When you are going towards a Kenwa whatever, So I am somehow familiar with some of the systems. So there are deities which my father actually adopted from the Benin custom and tradition to Akuma Azumocha. And that deity is called Oromila Aneshu. And it is only in my family that you can find this deity, the Oromila Aneshu, because the deity, it is not a foundational deity. It has nothing to do with the general clan as Akumas as a whole. So it is only my father that have means and medium of worshiping that deity. No other community, no other family member of Akuma Azumocha has anything in connection with that deity. And immediately my father died. Before he died, he told us how to return them. Immediately he died, because those deity was adopted, we send those deity back to where they are coming from. So today, Oromila Aneshu is no more found in my community. Is no more found, is no more found in my family, because it was borrowed. And the person that borrowed it, that adopted it, is no more. Then we return it back, because we are not ready. We are not ready to continue with him on that worship of Oromila Aneshu. By so, we have to return it back to where it is coming from. We have to return it back to where it is coming from. And on the note, this is what I can say concerning to tradition and some of our value system. Now, I'll be going to our language and dialect. Now, some things that let me say this. It is out of inferiority complex that some of us are trying to make ourselves what we are not. Now, some of my brothers from Okwan and some of my brothers from Aniocha, some of my people from Eka, who use the word Eka nation, who use the word Aniocha nation, who use the word Anioma nation, who use the word Okwan nation, are actually misleading themselves, thinking that they are doing themselves good. Eka is not a nation, neither is Okwan a nation. What is it called? Aniocha is not a nation, neither Anioma a nation. If you want to know what a nation is, go and make a proper research to understand what the word nation simply means. So it is out of inferiority complex. I don't want, look, I'm not at that particular point. I don't want to deviate. I want to take my teaching bit by bit and step by step. This is our morning tea, and I believe this morning program supposed to trend because I prepared on this particular topic. So you do me a favor by sharing this program. Don't listen to me alone. We need people to hear. So there are a lot of us who need liberation. There are a lot of us who actually need liberation. We need to liberate our people. We solely and actually need to liberate our people from blindness to the truth. A lot of us are blind to the fact that what we are holding as fact is nothing but false information against us and against our people, against our persons. Are you enjoying me? So, the truth is, let's go to the dialect. I'm talking about dialect, language, accent, and dialect. We're going to be looking at language, dialect, accent, and dialect. Language, dialect, and language, accent, and dialect. Now, when we talk about language, a language is a set of words and all of the system about the usage of those words that a group of people uses to communicate with each other. A dialect is a specific variety of a language spoken or sung by a group of people that may have pronunciation form and main form of the language. An accent is a distinct way of speaking or singing or signing a distinct way of speaking or signing a specific language or dialect that is shared among a specific group of people, usually distinguished by geographic area or social class. Now we look at language. I keep telling people one thing they should understand as a people. When we talk about language, we are talking about foundational word that unify all the dialect to be one. Now, when you are making a sentence, there are things you say repetitionally that makes your word, or that is what makes the word foundational. You stand as a foundational base to the sentence you are making. Language, and when you come to dialect, we look at the accent. We talk about pronunciation. But the word when you look at the foundational tense of what they are speaking, it is uniformity. It is uniform. It is uniform. But when we begin to speak, our dialects make the language a little bit differ from each other. But when you begin to look at the pronunciation and the word we use, they are not 100% unit. They unite themselves 100%. So this is what makes us one. Ika speaks dialect of Igbo. Or if we did not want to call it, because I know most of you, the problem you are having is that you think when we are talking about the unity of Ndigbo that we are calling you to be under a certain group of people. It's a lie. Nobody is more Igbo than any other. Every one of us that find ourselves within the Igbo speaking world share equal right to the word Igbo. So one of the things that pushes our people to begin to propagate for Ika being alone, Okwali being alone, is inferiority complex. Because they always want to, they see themselves as a people who doesn't want to be under a certain group of people. But I actually want to let you know that the call to unify Ndigbo is not a call to subject you under a certain group of people, but it's actually a call to bring the whole language family together for political gain, for a political emancipation, for economical gain, for economical emancipation. You should understand it that Ika is no differ, and Nyocha is no differ, Ukwani is no differ when we come to language grouping. You will agree with me that Anyocha, Ika, Ukwani, and what is it called? And Ika, there is no difference when it comes to language grouping. But the only thing you will tell me is that when we begin to make pronunciation, that is where you now begin to see presence of accent in pronunciation. That is where you now begin to see presence of accents. Because now when it comes to community and dialect, we begin to see our language in pronunciation differs from each other. You begin to see us make pronunciation, and our pronunciation stand to be what? Differ from each other. Now, for example, when an Ikama want to say Ane, you want to make pronunciation, you want to speak, translate X to Ika word, you use Ane, which is A-N-E-I. When somebody from Ebonyi State want to make sentence in regard to that X, the person use Ale, A-L-O-I. When somebody from Anambra want to make sentence in regard to Ane, Ana, you see them, they use the word A-N-E-A, Ana. There are other people who say Ane, Anene. Now, when you begin to look at this word, truthfully to yourself, you understand that you will see the uniformity in pronunciation. But what differs is our tongue, and that is where that is where we now begin to see the presence of variation in pronunciation. Because in some you see the presence of L, some N remain, and some you begin to see L-I, the presence of L-I. These things is a result of our tongue, how we make pronunciation. That is the only changes you see in such things. And that is why they differentiate it, they tell you that these people speak dialect of Igbo. That is where we begin to see the word dialect begin to come forward. Are you getting me now? That is where we now begin to see the word dialect begin to show forth in our word. So when we use the word Igbo, Igbo is a uniform word that has brought all the dialects that are in uniform with Igbo language together. Is somebody hearing me? This morning, it doesn't really matter. I might not take much time, but wheresoever we stop, we are going to be continuing. I'll make sure that these topics that I mapped out are well spelled out to our people. So when you begin to talk about Ika nation, Nsuka nation, Ibi nation, Nkanu nation, Mbise nation, Ikwere nation, Okwane nation, you are deceiving yourself, because you should go and read and get to know the word nation and see if Nkanu can be a nation and see if Ika can be a nation. But all the Igbo subgroup can come together to form the word nation. But Ika is not a nation. It is out of overzealousness that we begin to talk about a back nation, this one nation. You are misleading yourself, because you are not a nation. We that share language family must come together to form a nation. This is where I want to correct some of our brothers. Please, I don't like the numbers that I'm seeing on this live program. Connect this meeting to different groups, because this morning a lot of Iberiberism is going to be cured by so-called doing and by the help of Chukwu Okike Abia Henine. A lot of Iberibe are targeted to be cured and healed this morning. Now, I go again and said a language is a set of words, and all of the system about the usage of those words that a group of people uses to communicate within each other. And a dialect is a specific variety of a language spoken and signed by a group of people that may have different vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation from the main form of the language. You hear this? Hey, let me hear you. You only that said you are not an Igbo. I want to read this line again so that you understand me. I said a language is a set of words, and of all the system about the usage, those words that a group of people uses to communicate with each other. Now, a dialect is a specific variety of a language spoken or signed by a group of people that may have different vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. From the main, listen, look at this line. From the main form of the language, which is Igbo. From the main form of the language, which is what? Igbo. An accent is a distinct way of speaking or singing a specific language or dialect that is shared amongst a specific group of people, usually distinguished by geographical area or social class. Now, when we begin to use the word Igbo word, when we begin to talk about the Igbo word, I think we'll begin to talk about the Igbo as a word. Under it, I usually say this. Let me repeat myself for a broader understanding to what we are saying. I said the word Ika in one of my videos, that the word Ika is actually owned by every community that found themselves within that Ika. The word Ika was designed to put a certain people who find themselves under one geographical area to be one. Now, is a unifying factor to unify Agbo, Ibaki, Abafu, what is it called? Owa, Utanumu, Otolopo, what is it called? Ebubaka, Owere, Utoboje, Akumazi, Ibodo, Mbidi, Emuho, Ekwoma. this word Ika is a word designed to put this whole community together to be one. In that aspect, and so therefore, in that light, no community in this area that I just mentioned can stand up and claim ownership of that word Ika. Because every community that find themselves within and under that word Ika enjoy the same right to the ownership of that word Ika. So nobody is more Ika than every other as far as you find yourself within that geographical location that is called Ika. Now, same thing goes to Anioma. When you come to Anioma, the word Anioma belongs to nobody within that geographical area. All the communities that find themselves within that geographical area as an Anioma, both on the IGBO and so on and so forth, every one of them, same thing goes to them. They enjoy equal right to the word Anioma. No one will come and say we own the Anioma other than other. Every one of them that find themselves within that geographical location enjoy equal right to the word Anioma. So the Anioma is there as a unifying factor that bring all this entity, all this clan, all this community that find themselves within Anioma to be the owners of the Anioma people. So when you talk about the Ndokwa people, the word Ndokwa is also a unifying factor that hold everyone that find themselves within that Ndokwa geographical location. All the communities there enjoy same right and equal right to that name, Ndokwa. So no one is more Ndokwa than others because the word Ndokwa is a unifying factor that unify all the communities and clans that find themselves under the word Ndokwa. Are you getting my point? Now, that they are Ndokwa or they are Ika, when you come into Ika, I know Sunonu, that shares common boundary with Akumazi. When they are making pronunciation to that same language, their lyrics is different from Akumazi lyrics. But it's the same word that we are speaking. But when an Umulede person is speaking, an Akumazi person will tell that this person is from Umulede. How? Because their ways of pronunciation is quite different from our own ways of pronunciation. But we are all Ndeka that find ourselves within the geographical location. At the same time, we share common boundary. Yet, when we are making sentence in pronunciation, you see different, a little bit different in pronunciation. And that is why we begin to see presence of some word like L, and other, because our tongues different. If somebody listening to me this morning, I beg of you, if you're on this program, keep placing your hand on that like and love button so that Facebook will help to actually introduce this program to people, for people to actually join and view, because it is your like button that makes Facebook to understand that the program we are running is interesting. It is your like button, your love button that show Facebook that here in our call the interested. So that is how it is when we are talking about language. Now, most of us, I cannot say this is one of the reasons why the cause of this inferiority complex. But as we discuss further, will be enlightening us the more about what we are saying. Now, this is because I need time to talk more on other topic. Let me just rush this word, the language. Now, when we communicate with others using word, we are using language. We were also using a dialect and an accent, whether we are aware of it or not. But what we do, all of this word means how our language, dialect, and accent different from each other. In this program, I am here to let you know that we are all in one language family, but in pronunciation and accent or dialect, we have a different pronunciation, but we are one. Our language are coming from one. Now, the word language actually describes a body of law and a system we apply to those words, such as grammar and spelling, in order to communicate with each other. A language includes spoken, written, and signed form of word and system. Some examples of language include Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, and English. Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, and English. These are language. But under this language, you begin to see dialect. You begin to see that I said the word dialect describes a particular variety of a language. A dialect often flows most of the rules of its respective language, but it may have different vocabulary, grammar, or pronunciation. Most dialects are recognized by their usage in a specific geographic area, but dialects may be determined by other criteria such as social class. Some examples of dialects include, listen, take it. If you're calling your dialect language, you are misleading yourself. Some examples of dialects include Eka. Eka is a dialect. Aniocha is a dialect. Ikwere is a dialect. Ukwan is a dialect. Onambara is a dialect. Onitsha is a dialect. Imbise is a dialect. Ohofia is a dialect. Nsukka is a dialect. Ogwashi is a dialect. Obolo is a dialect. Akumaz is a dialect. etc. according to as you find yourself within the Igbo family. Now this is where I'm going to be stopping on the teaching of language. We'll continue next time. But let me go to the foundational deity. And this is what we give you what we call definition of who you are. It doesn't really matter what you have read or the article put together to mislead you on the internet by those whom the agenda is to divide you and I, to put a disagreement between you and I. It doesn't really matter what they have written. But in all they are written, in all what they have wrote on the, what is it called, Wikipedia or whatever, they fail to address this issue I'm about to address now. The foundational deity. This foundational deity talks about the beginning of the founding of where you call your community, your village, or your clan. Because this foundational deity talks about so many things, but how to do with you as a person, as an individual, as a community. This is what we follow to actually give a proper definition of your origin and your identity, or the family of the family of origin that you belong to. This foundational deity helps you to catch up with the right information about your existence as a person. Now I talk about foundational deity. A deity or God is a supernatural being considered to be sacred and worthy of worship by the people, and it also stands as a covenant which enforces the people's law of the land. Because the deity which was laid by your forefather as a means of covenant to raise whatsoever value system that your village and your community are upholding today. Today, it is founded by this foundational deity, not adopted deity. Now, in so doing, you should go to your community, look for those foundational deity. It will help you to know the genesis of that community. Now we have what is called Usane. We have what is called, according to dialect and according to pronunciation, based on where you find yourself within the Igbo family. We call it Ane, and that is why we call it Nso Ane. Nso Ane simply means the law of the land. Some other people who find themselves within the Igbo family call it Nso Ali, A-L-O-I, and that Nso Ali, based on their pronunciation, which involve the dialect and the variety of this thing. Now there are other people who call it Nso Ala, ALA. We still talk about the dialect here. Now, you look at this word as it's being pronounced. You see the formation of the word. Tell me if they are not from one particular language family. Inshallah. Now, you look at another one. Inshallah. ANEA instead of ALUA, instead of ALOI, instead of ANEI. This is Insana, ANEA. This also implies based on the dialect and pronunciation of a certain group of people. But in uniformity, all of us are within one language family. That is what we call Insana. These are pronounced according to dialects. These are pronounced according to dialect, which is found within the IGBO families. I want somebody who will come up and tell me, I want somebody who will come up and tell me, boy, you don't know what you are saying. Let's have a debate. I'll ask you one or two questions that will help us to ascertain the genuinity of argument, the genuinity of our submission, the genuinity of what we are saying as a people. Now, let me tell you one thing you must understand. Igbo and Yoruba are two languages spoken in West Africa, specifically Nigeria. German and English, on the other hand, are languages spoken in Europe. Let's compare the linguistic similarity between these two languages. Mind you, when we talk about Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba, Benin fall into Yoruba language family. It doesn't really matter what they claim to be. I, Oyemomadi, is telling you this morning. Don't take it to be that we are fighting. Benin fall into Yoruba family. You can call it Igbo. The reason why they are trying to differentiate themselves from their people is because they want to stand alone and they want to actually drag so many people into being them. And it's not possible. It is not possible. I'm not a professor. Neither am I a what is it called? A master degree holder. I did not hold any bachelor degree and whatsoever. But with my common sense and gift from Chi, I know for too sure that what I'm telling you, even you that is a professor, cannot say no to what we are discussing this morning. You can't say no to it. You can't say no to it. Please help me and share the program. Now, we are looking at the similarities among us. Igbo and Yoruba, for example, Igbo and Yoruba belong to two different language families. Igbo is a member of Niger-Congo language family, specifically the Benue-Congo branch, while Yoruba is a member of same Niger-Congo family but belong to the Volta-Niger branch. Despite both being Niger-Congo language, they are not mutually intelligible, which means speakers of one's language cannot understand the other without prior exposure or study, while there might be some lexical borrowing and cultural influence between Igbo and Yoruba due to geographical proximity and historical interaction. The language themselves are distinct and have different grammar, phonetics, and vocabulary. Go and make studies of all those things. You discover what we are saying. So when you want to tell me that Ika, Pase, Okwan, and Ikwere are from Benin, let me begin to drop my submission. Okay, it's like, let me begin before I make that submission. Let me continue. German and English, on the other hand, both belong to Germanic language family. English is a West Germanic language, while German is a High Germanic language. Due to their shared heritage, they have considerable amount of lexical, grammatical, and phonetic similarities. Many words in English and German have common origin, and some basic sentence structure as similar. English has borrowed numerous words from German, especially in technical and academic domain. Additionally, English and German speakers may sometimes be able to understand some written or spoken word due to shared cognates. Now, let me tell you, as an Eka person, tell me for too sure that a Benin person will stand using Benin language to communicate with you that you will understand it. Look at the Benin word and the Eka word. Are they in uniform? The answer is no. So whosoever that tells you that Ndika or Ikwere or Anocha Okware has a link within the Benin, and if the person did not explain how we are connected to them, to the point of clearing you that the only connection we have with the Benin people is during the era of trade with the foreigners. We did not have a central connection within the Benin, but we do have connection within the Benin due to the trade we had during the era of Benin Empire, while the white men were coming to purchase slaves, to buy antifa, to buy craft and all that. This is the only connection we have with them. And also, when colonial master came, they were grouping people for the sole interest of having an administrative effect or some certain geographical location. By so doing, most of our community were carved into some geographical location, carving them, giving them one name for an identification, but in the real sense, we are not one. Those things actually occur during the colonial era for identification of administrative purposes. Go and study. I am telling you what you should know. This is what I'm telling you. The truth of the matter is that most of us who make argue fail to understand for too sure that during the wave of migration, we did not have migration that went toward the west. The wave of migration actually happened towards the east. Migration, the wave of migration, go and study it, was towards the east. Those who migrated from Benin to Yoruba, when we were leaving the Benin, we never make move towards the west because we never foresee that end to be our place of abode. We never foresee those areas, the western area, to be our place of abode. And that is why when issue began to emanate from Benin Kingdom, our people begin to take a journey downward towards their home, which is the eastern part of the Nigeria. So there is no people, there is no group of people from Eka speaking, from Igbo speaking, from Ikore speaking, from whatsoever speaking, that make move from Benin towards the west. Every one of them solely make their move towards the east. And it is during that movement that actually gave birth to some of the communities you see. And that is why today you can see Abo in Anambra Delta, you can see Abo in Enugu, you can see Abo in Imo, you can see Abo in whatsoever. The reputation of those names is actually showing you time and season when movement was taken or moved, when our people was taking a move which you call migration. So most of our people out of ignorance are using the word migration to identify themselves as a people. For example, on the chart Donidu, the word that Donidu is actually pointing to different movements. Ado speaks about Ile-Ife, Ado Ekiti, and so on and so forth. Why he do speak about the Benin Kingdom? When Onitsha people, who are the Igbo people, take a leave, their first movement from the west coming down home, it got to a point when they get to Igbo, they stopped because they meet most of their brother there. They began to leave. When problem also emanated from Igbo that resulted that Onitsha movement, they took up a journey that found them where they are down at the.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.